Where Entebbe Airport has been the epicenter of the dramatic return of Ugandan Member of Parliament Robert Kyagulanyi alias Bobi Wine. Several of Bobi Wine's fans, including friends, celebrities and some politicians, were met by a waiting battalion of police officers who attempted to block them from accessing the airport. Bobi Wine was returning from the United States of America, where he was seeking treatment for injuries that he alleges he got when tortured in custody. He's facing charges of treason relating to an alleged attack on the convoy of President Yoweri Museveni during a by-election campaign. Roads were sealed off and barricades erected around Uganda's Entebbe Airport ahead of his return. Reports indicate that Bobi Wine was arrested upon arrival. Well, from Kampala, we will be joined by Joseph Sabiti, a senior reporter with our broadcasting partners NBS Uganda, as he tries to shed more light on this particular story emanating from Uganda. Remember, this is all centered on Entebbe Airport, which has been the epicenter of the dramatic return of the embattled Ugandan Member of Parliament Robert Kyagulanyi alias Bobi Wine, where several of Bobi Wine's fans, including friends, celebrities and some politicians, were met by a waiting battalion of police officers who attempted to block them from accessing the airport. Now, Bobi Wine was returning from the United States, where he was actually seeking treatment for injuries that he alleges he got when tortured in custody. He is facing charges of treason relating to an alleged attack on the convoy of President Yoweri Museveni during a by-election campaign. Roads were sealed off and barricades erected around Uganda's Entebbe Airport ahead of his return. Now we cross over to Uganda, where Joseph Sabiti, a senior reporter with our broadcasting partners NBS Uganda, is set to shed light on this particular development. Joseph Sabiti, thank you for joining us on Bottom Line Africa. What is the latest according to this unfolding situation that occurred earlier on?
Well, I am standing just outside the gate of Bobi Wine's home, where he is expected to be brought after he was arrested before going through immigration procedures at Entebbe International Airport. The military arrested him upon arrival, and he was not actually able to go through the immigration procedures. And so we have a number of young people who have gathered outside his home here, hoping that the security personnel who arrested him will actually deliver him here, Rogers.
We can see security is tight even as various individuals came out in support of Bobi Wine. Have you heard from him? Has he been arrested? And what are the security officials saying about this? Well, Joseph Sabiti, we're simply asking what is the state of security in that particular area, as we heard from reports unauthenticated actually that he is set to be arrested or he has been arrested. Can you actually break this down for us?
Well, what we know is that the military has been deployed on the streets from about last night, and so all the major roads in the city leading to the airport where he landed from have actually been filled with the armed personnel from the military, but also around his home here, where we have been for about 6 hours. We have seen a number of police patrol vehicles touring this place, and so there have been a few running battles between his supporters here who continue to shout in anticipation outside his home and the military personnel. And then so there's a heavy presence of the army across the city, probably to make sure that nothing goes wrong, but also just to respond in case his supporters decide to demonstrate following his arrest. Remember, this is the second time in Uganda in about 2 years that is happening. Previously, our opposition leader, Dr. Kizza Besigye, was also arrested on the tarmac by police and whisked to his home before actually going through immigration, and Bobi Wine becomes the second person. Earlier, police had said they would allow his close family members to welcome him. But we know that his elder brother was arrested, his other brother was also arrested, and his producer was arrested alongside other journalists who were arrested in the morning. And the media was actually barred from accessing the airport this morning. A number of journalists who tried to sneak through were picked and driven back to Kampala. That is how the security situation is in the city right now.
Well, apart from the security situation, have you been able to actually get details on why these individuals have been arrested? You've just mentioned his producer, his brother. Why were they arrested? And perhaps have you gotten some comments from supporters? As we can see, they've turned out in large numbers. Well, Joseph Sabiti, if you can hear me, have you been able to actually ascertain the reason behind the arrests that have been made by security personnel? As you've mentioned, a couple of close family and friends have been arrested as Bobi Wine is coming back into the country. Perhaps the reason and also what the supporters are saying. As you can see, they're highly expecting Bobi Wine to get to his home.
Well, what we know is that a couple of hours before his return, the police chiefs addressed a press conference and said he will not be allowed to hold any procession from the airport. They also had said that only members of his immediate family would be allowed to welcome him. And yet a lot of people, a lot of leaders, especially from the opposition, had mobilized and printed T-shirts with the words "People Power" on them to actually receive him. And so police, I think, was trying to stop any procession from receiving him at the airport. And we know that the security of all agencies involved do not just limit themselves to belonging to the police, but also we have people from the elite force and as well as the Uganda People's Defense Forces. My guess is that they did not want any procession from Entebbe to his home, which is a couple of kilometers, but also police had said they would not allow any procession across the city. Probably that explains why he was arrested on the tarmac as he landed at Entebbe and whisked away. We are still trying to ascertain where he is being held, but what we know is that the couple of other people who were arrested were picked and taken into custody, and police has not been able to yet explain why exactly they were arrested. My guess, Rogers, is that they wanted to avoid any attempts to mobilize his supporters to receive him from Entebbe International Airport.
Well, thank you, Joseph Sabiti, a senior reporter with our broadcasting partners NBS Uganda. He'll definitely continue monitoring the state of affairs surrounding the return of Bobi Wine, who is actually away in the United States.